I'm going back to the topic I started. Yeah, reparation. Reparation has been talked about a lot, and there have been groups over the years that try to make representation in London. However, I am of the firm belief that reparation should come from the descendants of the slavers, okay, that are in Jamaica today. Um, I mentioned that I have a friend who's one of them, Mark Carjar, a very, very decent guy. I mean, he's a community man. He's involved in a lot of committees to try to remedy problems in the city. He treats his staff very, very well. He probably would have been against slavery if it was back in the day, right? If he was back there, um, he would definitely probably have been an abolitionist. And as I said before, it's not his fault that his great, great, great grandpeople were slave owners, and it's not his fault that he's ended up with a ton of a ton of property, 3,700 acres in 1988. He has sold some of it to develop Bogue Village, for example. He's developed some of it himself in Montego West, and he has a tech park, some sizable development in Montego Bay, and he still has a couple thousand acres available and is now selling because Montego Bay is a booming town. It's growing leaps and bounds, and his property is exactly where it needs to be, right? Just at the edge of the heart of the city. Perfect flat land, most of it, next to the Montego River. He's selling 1 acre, I understand, for $1 million US. So my call for local reparation is completely legitimate. It's fair because while they weren't responsible, like Mark and the other descendants of the slavers in Jamaica, they had nothing to do with it, but they are the beneficiary of the massive amount of wealth that has been created, firstly on the backs of my and your, well, black Jamaican forefathers. Reparation is completely legitimate, reasonable, and I think even Mark would probably agree with it. We don't have to try to take away um, how should I put it now? Uh, the majority of their wealth or anything like that. However, and it's also difficult to single out who should be the beneficiary. My suggestion would be that the funds be used for community projects, particularly in the areas where most of those slave great great grandfathers existed, lived, and their descendants live today. And I would put the money towards projects like a school bus system, like educational institutions, schools in the area, developing homework, like a homework center, computer room, in an area where kids, can, instead of idling and instead of probably going home in some of those difficult communities, they could go to these places, these public places, properly manned, properly maintained, right? From the annual, I would create some kind of an annual stipend, which goes from these car jareds and descendants of slave owners to those projects. We also have a lot of homeless people in Montego Bay, right? We could, there are homeless centers, but I would go way beyond what we have right now. I mean, the city, being a tourism capital, should be free of stuff like that. There should be nobody sleeping on the streets. It's a very rich city, and a lot of wealth, a lot of that wealth is tied up in properties like Barnet Estate, owned by Carchari, Rose Hall Estate, owned by the I'm having a senior moment where I just woke up. Anyway, and Greenwood Estate. There are quite a few of them in the Montego Bay area. And I believe, as I said, it's very, very reasonable for modern day descendants to pay back because the wealth that they have didn't come out of the sky. It came from, first of all, them getting the land free, right, by the monarchy for them to develop um, plantations growing sugarcane to make rum and sugar, which was sent back to Britain.